Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex. I'm Joe. It's a Saturday night. And as a matter of fact, if we were tomorrow, we'd be saying, May the 4th be with you. We're on the cusp of not inaugural, annual Star Wars Day. So, but we're not going to talk Star Wars. That's the funny thing. We'll mention it. We're going to talk everything and anything. This is a free for all. This is a sizzle reel that we will talk about all of these things in depth later.
I think it's going to be fun because we've both agreed that we're going to try and do it very quick subject changes. And the
Yes.
last time we tried we did the first two and then failed completely because we went on a tangent. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing what happens this week. Because again, like folks, we don't plan shit. Uh,
No, and we wanted to get content out. We wanted to touch base with each other. Life has been very lifey lately. I've moved. Alex has been busy, and we've just been
very
trying to
lifey.
keep up. You know,
Yeah, I don't even know what I've been busy with. Oh, what the hell! I thought I had my door shut, and I've got two cats fighting at the door, and
I'm
one of them just
holding down Brady right now. He was
yeah.
sleeping the whole time before this. Literally, as soon as you hit record, he started stirring, and I thought his thing was going to jingle, but it didn't. But
That's
he's
hilarious.
fighting me right now, so this won't be long.
No,
Um,
no.
so I guess what we'll talk first is, we'll talk May the 4th because it's every year. I have Revenge of the Sith on in front of me right now, paused. I'm going to Fenway for the Red Sox tomorrow on May the 4th day. And, Star Wars is Star Wars. The latest thing out is Andor season 2. I personally didn't make it through Andor season 1. I don't
Okay,
recall if you did.
I actually haven't watched Andor,
Okay.
and the reason being, for the most arbitrarily me reason of all time, is that I've decided that anything before the prequel trilogy, other than Rogue One,
Hmm.
and anything after the like still within like the 5 6 years. So like I'll watch Book of Boba Fett,
Right.
uh, Matt the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, anything after that, because the Star Wars universe is so vast with so much coming out that it's very hard to keep up with everything, and
Right. And
especially
it's
with every,
not all good. That's the issue.
no, and so I usually what I do is I wait. I'll keep within that era. I
Hmm.
actually didn't watch Ahsoka because my friends, oh, it calls back to Clone Wars so much. I'm like, great, don't need to watch it because I haven't watched Clone Wars.
Right.
I realistically won't watch Clone Wars at this point. So I was like, why am I gonna throw myself into more confusion with a show like
Yeah.
that? Apparently, I don't need to watch Clone Wars. It's just like one of those nice callback, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. So maybe I'll kick it on eventually, but realistically, I don't know. Um,
Yeah. So I watched episode 1 and 2 of Ahsoka when it
mhm,
first came out. I loved it, but I just never went back to it. Like, I've
right.
been really awful with streaming as of the
I
past year. Unless
so
it's Shorzy or Daredevil, I have been terrible.
so here's a question for you, just to
Hmm.
go to our next quick topic. What in the hell, Svenja? Um, okay, so for those of you who can't see what's happening, which is all of you because we don't have our cameras on,
Yep.
my we have outside my office there is a shelf of board games, and she must be on that, has opened the door, and is current was slapping a punch buggy Volkswagen Beetle Hot Wheels car that I have, and yeah, I'll see if I can get a picture of it and send it to you later. Anyway, so what I was going to ask you as our next quick swift topic change, do you think that streaming is good or bad in general for shows, because you either like, would you rather it drop all at once
Hmm.
or do the Daredevil route and come out weekly? Like, which is your preference when it comes to that?
So, I mean, I love binging when it's something you truly love and you gobble it up. I love it. But there's that whole thing. Like, I went through it with Shorzy. Once you got me hooked on Shorzy, I devoured it. And when it came out again, I couldn't resist devouring it. But I did it so quick that it's like you take away your expectation and joy because you're like, oh man, it's all over. Now what? I got to wait until the next season. So, to answer your question, I used to like everything drop at once because I can get it all done in one shot. But with Daredevil, I really liked the week to week format because it gave me something to look forward to. Also, at worst, I was one or two behind. It didn't build up to the point where like I was behind the whole season or anything like that. I like looking forward to a new episode every week because it becomes more of something you can enjoy and digest and take it in, especially something with the subject matter of Daredevil, where it's so nuanced and there's layers to it. Like it's nice to, watch an episode, have a week, talk to people who watched it, discuss it, enjoy it, and then go into it again. I think the best format, like for a Disney Plus show, for me personally, would be 2 episodes a week. I like when they open up and drop 2 episodes to start. That's a nice, good jump start. I wish they would do that with everything because you would move series along quicker. But I no longer like the whole like season being dropped in one shot because it's either A, depending on what it is, too overwhelming that I don't want to do it in one shot or I just can't catch up. Or B, it's one and done and then like, you don't appreciate it. You're always looking for whatever next is. But I do like staggered streaming. That would be my preference.
I actually, for all of the reasons you mentioned, I agree.
Okay.
And ironically, I was expecting you to say the other thing, so I had an argument ready that we were going to go off on a tangent in case we were going to go off on a tangent, but
Haha.
obviously not.
Nope.
Um, yeah, no, for all of the reasons that you said, I agree. The other point I was going to make that you didn't, and I'm sure you were thinking of it, is that when you're building anticipation, it
Hmm.
allows you to sit and think about it, and you're not behind the eight ball. Like you don't have
Right.
people that are, yes, you're always going to get people that watch it the second it comes out. Like they're sat at their TV waiting for
Yeah.
Disney Plus to unlock the file, whatever. It's like, yes, brilliant, it's on.
Right.
But the flip side is, even if they watch it that night, they're only
Hmm.
an episode ahead. It's not like, for example, for us, Shorzy, us being up in Canada, Shorzy came out. I think it was 2 episodes one
Right.
week, and then it was weekly. And
Yeah.
I forgot, like, not that I forgot to watch it, but I just didn't have time to sit down and watch it for at one point. And all of a sudden, I get 3 episodes in a row. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But then I had 3 episodes in a row, and it was all done. And I mean, obviously, I'm waiting for you to watch it because you're one of the few people I can talk about it because my friends still don't know I've watched it. Of course, if they
Hmm.
listen to the show, then they know now they're trolling me and not
They
not
have to
paying
know
attention.
now. Now
I
they're
there's no
100%
I
trolling you.
genuinely think there's no way they don't know, honestly.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, but that said, I was waiting for you to watch it. So when you binged it, great. I loved it. It was fantastic. However, the flip side is you and I talking about Daredevil, it kept
Hmm.
the conversation going that much longer. And I think that's
Right.
something that is often overlooked, especially in today's day and age where you are used to streaming everything in one go.
Hmm.
It like for all of the reasons you said, I actually prefer releasing it, especially with shorter series, 2 episodes in one,
Yeah, because you
because
get into a rhythm weekly.
and
It's something to look forward to. The only thing I dislike that Disney did with or was it no, Netflix did with Daredevil? No, it was Disney. I'm
it
sorry.
was
I keep
this
getting confused.
Netflix did the original one,
I
yeah.
absolutely hated the 9 o'clock start time. Like
Oh,
it should be that morning, 24 hour, whatever the day is that it releases at 12 midnight. Like it should release right away. I disagree with this
I
waiting for the start time bullshit.
so that was actually my biggest pet peeve specifically with that show because there was
Right.
no way I was watching it at 10 o'clock at night where I am because I was
Exactly.
always in the middle of other stuff, and I know my
Hmm.
wife wasn't into it, so I'm like, well, all right, I'm gonna go watch Daredevil. I'll be back in an hour because we'd
Right.
usually be off in watching something else at that point. So the timing for that wasn't great. However, I was thinking the 2 episodes at the beginning is good because it does allow you to instead of having like a long 2 hour premiere, you can do an hour long episode if someone wants to watch
Hmm.
both of them great, but it allows you to have a slower build up in the first episode that will then roll into the second one to
Right.
really hook you. But yeah,
I mean,
that
I
was.
just disagree with the time start because
Mhm.
everyone has a different time. Like basically, you got people that work first shift, you got people that work
Yep.
third shift. So like if you're a fan, you should be able to wake up before your shift and just watch it.
especially
And, you
especially
know,
with streaming, it's different with cable
yeah,
when that was just the time it was on. But even then,
correct.
like it would be all right. So granted, for us, say if it's on at 9 p.m. Eastern, it's still going to be 10 o'clock our time, but then it might be earlier for everyone else as it goes across. So
Right. But
again,
avoiding
again,
spoilers is harder when
hmm
there's a start time because, like I said, for the reason, let's say you work overnights, you
yep.
can't watch it. So now you're waiting to watch it after your shift. But if you happen to go on your phone or run into somebody who you know who's already seen it, like you run the risk of somebody already spoiling it for you. So,
It,
like, I
so
disagree with that.
yeah, no. So the next question that I have for you, I'm just coming up with questions as we go. I don't have anything
That's
actually
fine.
planned. You, Matthew, and I were talking about Thunderbolts earlier. Now, it came
Yes.
out this weekend, so folks, there's really going to be no spoilers whatsoever. We're going
Nope.
to wait at least I think you're going to see it this week, so maybe
I
we'll talk
hope to.
about
I
it.
hope to see it at some point this
Yeah.
week. Yes.
So maybe we'll talk about it next week between the two of us on
Yeah,
the podcast.
absolutely.
Like at that point, there will be spoilers, but nothing going on here.
Mhm.
So I did see it, and Matthew Klein has also seen it, and we were chatting about it, and I tend to be very, very vague when I talk to Joe after
Mhm.
I've seen a movie. Like I will barely give him an impression one way or another.
Correct.
Matthew did give you a bit more of a review,
Yes.
and so at that point, I told Joe the only thing I said is that I'm considering going back to see it again in theaters.
Which, if anyone knows Alex the way I do, that's a very high uh, mark of praise, meaning, oh crap, because him and I usually have similar tastes. That means I want to see it even more now because I'm
Yeah.
an easier critic than you are, just, historically. So,
Historic, yeah, especially on like recency bias, you tend to really love
yes.
a movie, and I don't think this is a bad thing. Like full
Right.
disclosure, folks, I don't think Joe going into a movie and coming out saying, "Oh my god, that was amazing," is a bad thing because you enjoyed it, and that's you go to the movies to enjoy. Now,
Right. It's the point of
when
the
when you
movie.
yeah, like when you've seen it a few times, you know, that wasn't as good as I first thought it was, but I still
Yep.
enjoyed it the first time. Whatever,
Yeah,
right?
ironically,
Like
the last
fantastic.
great movie I saw that comes right to mind is Mutant Mayhem in the theater, which I just absolutely adored. But before that, it has nothing to do with superheroes, and it was a complete surprise that year. Was Top Gun Maverick? That movie blew me away,
I
expectations and everything.
Ironically enough, yeah, same. I'm also not the biggest. I didn't grow up watching
You
Top
don't
Gun.
like Tom Cruise. We've
I
established this.
It's not that I don't like Tom Cruise. It's that I find him really hard to be believable as anything
Right.
other than Tom Cruise. And yet, ironically, Tom Cruise's Maverick works so well because of who Tom Cruise is
Yes.
basically the same as who Maverick is at that point in his career. And I
Yeah.
was like, it like the cast, you couldn't have cast anyone else to play Maverick at that moment,
No.
even if say Val Kilmer had played Maverick originally and then he comes back to play him again, it wouldn't have worked as well. Like it's the same thing as with Wyatt Russell playing John Walker when we saw him in
Thunderbolts.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, where all of a sudden there's this guy that's trying to live up to the shadow or the shadow of someone else in John Walker and Steve Rogers, but then you've
Right.
also got Wyatt Russell trying to step out into from the shadow of Kurt
Of his
Russell.
father in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, like you couldn't have had a more perfect actor for that role. I'm aware that
So
he's in Thunderbolts, and I'm
we
not saying
know
anything about it.
that I didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the series, but I didn't like it for the overall, just the way it was,
It.
rolled out. I loved Wyatt as
Mhm.
John Walker, and I love Sam and Bucky. I think they're fantastic. But that doesn't make a great series. That series just didn't go anywhere for me. but I'm looking forward to this because it's a totally different tone. I know there's going to be jokes because you got Florence Pugh and David Harbour, which I'm very excited for, but it's not going to be, I don't know. It's not going to be boring to me. I can already tell. The thing that intrigues me is the villain is the Sentry and the Void, which I'm excited to see how that is actually handled, and hopefully that's handled well because the Sentry is a immensely powerful being that the Thunderbolts shouldn't have a shot at taking care of. Even the Avengers should have a huge hard time, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be handled, and I want to see that balance on screen because I always love the Jekyll Hyde of the Sentry. It's one of the most intriguing things to me with this guy Bob being this nigh omnipotent force, but he's so damaged that he's either evil or good, and I'm hoping to see it. Like I really want to see it, but I also hope it explains where the fuck the Avengers are because it's like Doomsday destroying everything and the Justice League is, in Tahiti.
It
It just
so it
doesn't
it,
make sense to
it
me.
I think it more concretely addresses what's been hinted at since the
Okay.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In the after Endgame, the Avengers just disbanded. There
Right.
just wasn't any Avengers after that.
Right.
So when they, after we saw in Captain America: Brave New World, where they said, well, there aren't any Avengers anymore. It that's it kind
Right.
it hints more toward that and helps expand upon that a little bit. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna go into it anymore because I don't want to. This is still opening weekend for a lot of people,
Yeah, but I'm
right?
I'm not a spoiler afraid guy.
You're
It never
no,
bothers me. You know
you're.
that.
I know it doesn't bother you, but we did say at the beginning that we're not going to do any spoilers for
Correct.
the movie, and other than what's in the trailers, which is out there, that I think that's all we've done.
Okay, fair enough.
All
So
right.
we'll jump from that. And the next topic would be, so I did free comic book day. Ironically, you who works at a comic stop in his spare time did not do free comic book day, which I
No,
find hilarious.
so my wife and I ended up going on a book hunt. Went to New Brunswick and we're looking for a couple of very specific books and didn't find them, which is fine. But we did
Hmm.
find a whole bunch of new bookstores, and I ended up walking out of a toy store with a couple of like those mini Batman black and white figure statues, like the plastic resiny ones. They're
Oh,
really
really? The DC
yeah.
Direct ones?
No, the dirt cheap ones, the blind bag ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember those.
Um,
Yep.
so I got a couple of those and found a Earth X Wolverine mini
Mhm.
bust. So I've got to take that out and put it up somewhere. But I've also got to make sure I clean up my pile of books behind me,
Okay.
because to do that, once I've done that, then I can actually put the statues out that I want, because it's a little bit harder for the cats to get to them.
Right.
But until I do that, right now,
Right.
there's easy for them to get up and get into it. So,
Yeah. So I did new comic book, I mean, free comic book
hmm.
day. I usually do. I hit up Brady Stop. I usually hit up New England Comics and Newberry. This
Yeah.
time I
So
just
what are
did
they?
New England.
What was out this week?
Oh,
This
it
year
was
during
dog
Comics
shit,
Day.
dude. So they had this amazing Spider-Man, oh well, Ultimate Spider-Man Insurrection like preview book, which I guess they're doing, the Maker in the Ultimate Universe again as this big ass crossover, which to me sucks because the whole idea of the new Ultimate Comics line has been free from that. Yes, it's born from that continuity and it says it in the beginning, but it hasn't like woven through the stories. They've been able to tell brand new tales
Right.
and brand like it Ultimate Spider-Man is completely brand new than anything that's ever come before. That's what makes it so special. Now we're going to do this whole like Secret Wars style crossover that I couldn't give a shit about. And these books are only really a year old. Like it's just
I find
that
that's
I don't
often the
care.
issue with crossovers, is that it's very easy, if you're not interested
Yeah,
in anything else, it's easy to just, you know what, I'm done.
right,
I'm not carrying on with that. Now, I know that's not everything. I know historically the main miniseries does really well when it comes to crossovers,
right.
which is obviously why they keep doing them. So I get that. I do also think it amusing that for for folks like us who are like, I'm not gonna carry on reading this.
Right.
It also ends up causing us to drop a series. So
Well, because you also have crossover fatigue. Like you
yep,
just, I think it might even still be going. You have One World Under Doom, like so that's still going.
yep,
And then DC's got whatever they got going. They had what was it? Absolute Power or Absolute
yeah,
Evil, whatever. It's just like tell the stories in the books, tell good stories. So the other book was a Superman crossover, whatever that's going on. So I had no interest. Okay, Brady, get down. I had no interest in that. And then there was a Conan book, a Mega Man book, couple indie books that I wasn't too familiar with, but nothing like crazy. And the reason I mentioned it is because there was a time where Free Comic Book Day would either debut a new character that would be big in the books going forward, or some kind of big change that would warrant, hey, I know this is free, but pick it up because it's going to lead you into whatever. And those days just
yeah.
seem to be gone now. Like there's no more wow factor to Free Comic Book Day. What's cool about it is the sales and the stuff that goes on at the shop. And shockingly, it was super slammed today for the first
Good.
time in a couple
And
of
I
years.
and I think that's really what you want with Free
Yeah,
Comic Book Day is to pull people in for that.
right.
So the fact
Exactly.
that it was slammed is fantastic for them.
Right. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But like I said, the content itself that, was out on the rack for the day, it did nothing
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, and that
So I
that
ended up
happens.
looking at the wall books and I was like, my new thing is I got the spinner rack coming this week. And my
Yep.
idea is I want to put either like extremely personal comic books to me on there or like key issues or grails or whatever. So I have always been a huge Todd McFarlane guy. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I would like his original Batman stuff, which was year two, and I couldn't find the first part, but I found the second part. So I was like, all right, this is going to go on the spinner rack. And it was $15, but because there was a sale, it was like $8. So that was a good find. And that's basically what I did.
Yeah, that's great.
So, I mean, I celebrated it one way or another and I was good with it. But what made me happy was seeing how many people were in there because usually there's like
It,
six or seven. There was a good couple dozen. I was pretty
yeah,
impressed.
it's funny. Like this year seems to be we're getting a lot of people in our shop picking stuff up as well, which is really interesting. Like, I'm not sure how that what's changed, what's bringing people in, but I'm
So,
happy to see it.
so this is the last thing, the last topic we'll talk about because we said this was going to be quick.
Mm.
I will say that I think it's part of a phenomenon that I've experienced recently. So, I went to Metallica
Yeah,
recently. Okay. So, I've
I
been to so many metal concerts in my life.
it occurs to me I never actually asked you how that was because I just assumed it would be great.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely incredible. Like I was basically stage.
yeah,
We had lower level on the floor, and then we worked our way to the point where we were like second row stage. And they had the stage in quadrants, so like they would shift around at different points of the set.
yep.
So you got everybody. But what was most impressive to me and weird at first was the um, the fans, the group of fans, because I've been to so many metal concerts in my life that I'm used to a sea of black, a sea of
Hmm.
hoodies, a sea of like just regular, everyone looking alike people. This was the most diverse crowd I've ever seen in a live event in my life. I saw more 20-year-olds than I did 40 and 50-year-olds. I've never seen anything like this. I was so shocked.
That's
And
awesome.
not only were they there, but they knew the words to every single song, even deep cuts that I didn't know all the lyrics to. It was like they studied Metallica for a semester or something. And I ended up talking to somebody while I was there. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm so shocked. Like the sweater vest and the khakis and you singing along, it's like weird. And he goes, listen, our music sucks today. Like, you guys have great music, so why wouldn't we appreciate it?
He's not
So
wrong.
I think
He's
that's
absolutely
kind
not
of
wrong.
what's happening with comic books too, is that age group is going back to everything that we made huge and popular and reappreciating it and bringing it on again. That's what I think, honestly.
I honestly, I would agree. I think that I remember though when I was growing up and getting into metal, I delved a lot into early Metallica. So this was like late
Right.
90s, early 2000s. So I was listening to a lot of early 90s, late 80s metal as well because it was really good. And
Hmm.
it still is. And I think that there's still some great bands putting out albums right now. Like I've been really loving Bleed from Within's newest stuff. Um, I didn't expect this to turn into a music thing, and all of a sudden I'm blanking on what I've been listening to.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I've been listening to a lot of modern stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff I've been listening to that isn't a recent thing. Like at
Right.
I still listen to a lot of Parkway Drive.
Well, I
Uh,
think it's
you
just
know,
how we're wired. Like, again,
yeah.
it's Star Wars Day. Instead of watching something, well, tomorrow is, instead of watching something
In
that I haven't seen
in
that's
your
brand
in
new.
your in your defense, when this comes out, it actually comes out on May the 4th.
Right. So, well, that's a happy accident. But what I mean is, instead of watching Andor or
Yeah,
Ahsoka or Mandalorian season 3 that I didn't finish, I'm watching Revenge of the Sith,
I
the
would
movie
highly
I've
recommend.
seen the most.
Yeah, I would highly recommend finishing off Mandalorian
I
season
am.
three
Right.
because I also let it sit for a long time and
Hmm.
I really shouldn't have.
Oh, so it is good.
I it Yeah, for me it was really good. I really enjoyed the way it ended.
Okay.
In it Because it both sets up what's coming next, but also at the same time is very clearly a definitive end. If you only watch the Mandalorian TV show, for lack of a
Right.
better phrase, if you only watch that, well, you get a complete beginning, middle, and end story, and it's just really good.
Okay. So I will start there after this because also we get the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming.
Which is exactly why I said if you don't want to watch
Yeah.
that, then this is a great endpoint. But yeah, I cannot wait for the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Of
I
course.
for reasons I can't tell you why, but I got into once you've seen the show, and folks, if you have watched the Mandalorian season 3, you're going to understand. You'll know what I'm talking about. I
Right.
got into an argument with someone about a very specific character's something about them,
Hmm.
and they obviously hadn't finished the show, and I had, and it was at trivia, and I got into an argument with them, and I ended up winning once I was able to prove it. And they said, oh, I guess I probably should watch when I have a trivia question. Maybe I should make sure I know what I'm talking about. And I was like, yeah, you should.
Right. Well, never get into a war with geeks because we usually have facts. So it's usually a
And
losing battle.
the worst part though, so my two friends that love Shorzy, we one of them said, so genuine question, if you put Thought Mjolnir in a shopping cart, could you push the shopping cart? And my
That's
response
fun.
was, I think so, because you're not lifting the hammer, you're moving the cart.
Right.
Right? That was my just gut reaction. And my other buddy sent probably like a solid half a page of an answer with like quotes and everything. And it boiled down to yes, you could move the cart and the hammer would move with it because you're not lifting the hammer. Because
Right.
Mjolnir says, whoever holds this hammer, if they're worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. You're not touching the hammer, you're moving the cart. And I was like, so basically, what we're saying is that I was right, and so were you. And I think, but Buddy has, sources for his inner nerddom. I just
Hmm.
go on confidence without reason, and both of those things are dangerous when you're arguing with a geek,
Of
because
course.
I might know I'm right, even without even when I'm wrong, but I believe it so confidently that you're gonna have a hell of a time convincing me otherwise, for better or for
Well,
worse.
the funniest part about the whole thing is we're arguing, or I'm saying we, but you're arguing a science about a completely fictional item. Like,
Yep.
but you're so believed in it because of what you've known and been experienced through reading, that you're convinced.
Yeah.
So Big
Yeah.
Bang Theory had this argument too, with like the girls in the group were talking about Thor. I'll send you the clip, but it's something similar. It's like, wait a minute, if a guy picks up the hammer, no, if Thor picks up the hammer, but a guy picks up Thor, did he pick up the hammer too? And everyone's like, huh, because you're holding Thor with the hammer at the same time, but you're not lifting the hammer, you're lifting Thor. But is it transference? Like, there's so many options on it. I'll
I
send it to you.
I know. I think I've seen it. I love that argument. It's one of my favorite arguments when it comes to comics. Is that very dedicated, especially when it remains civil. Like
Right.
the arguments of like, but how would Wolverine's skeleton possibly be? How would he be able to climb up a building by stabbing his claws in if you've got to be able to have the strength to do that? Does he
Right.
have super strength? Like I love that kind of argument where it's like, well, I mean, you see it in the cartoons where he just climbs by stabbing his claws in, but is that physically possible in our fictional worlds? Who knows? I won't
That's
go
part of
into
the fun, right?
exactly. We won't go into that argument because we're just bringing it up as an illustration of the fun. But yeah, folks, we promised this would be quick. Joe and I can obviously keep going, but given that it's late on a Saturday and I still need to edit this, which in full disclosure doesn't take long because we just leave whatever we say in here, and that's the way we've always done it, especially when it's just you and I.
Yep.
It won't take long, but I've still got to make sure we get it over to Brett so he can actually upload it, and that's probably the end of the show, I think.
Perfect.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.